Namaste, Visakhapatnam. Thank you so much for having us here in this lovely, lovely place. I am Deepa Ishwar, and on behalf of India Seatrade, I welcome all our esteemed speakers and participants to the 4th edition of the Multimodal Logistics Summit organized by India Seatrade in association with Federation of Indian Export Organizations, or FIEO. The theme for today's summit, ladies and gentlemen, is moving forward to create future-ready capacities. The resounding success of the 3rd edition of the Multimodal Logistics Summit, held in February 2023 in Gandhidham, Gujarat, has placed a greater responsibility on India Seatrade to match the expectations of the industry in forthcoming editions. And India Seatrade, from what I know, never fails to meet expectations. This event, ladies and gentlemen, is presented by APJ Infra Logistics, powered by Speedways Logistics, co-presented by Jodak Shipping. A few words about India Seatrade. We all know India Seatrade has been an active facilitator in the maritime and logistics business, working with the government and the industry for the development of this sector. The events organized by India Seatrade and the group have focused on increasing efficiency, reducing costs, creating awareness, sharing experiences, disseminating information, promoting coordination among the various stakeholders, unraveling business opportunities, and most significantly, dear friends, providing a platform for meaningful interactions between policymakers and the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been personally associated with India Seatrade for the past 10 years. And one thing that I've noticed is the genuine efforts that they've put in every single event of theirs. There is somebody from India Seatrade, a representative, who makes notes of every discussion that happens here, every point raised by the audience and the speakers. They make a note of it and they make sure that a copy of that is sent to the government and it is being heard so that these discussions turn into meaningful actions. It is this genuine effort and attempt and hard work by the India Seatrade team that makes me want to come back again and again and makes you want to come back as well. The support from the government and from the industry has been the primary enabler for the success of all of India Seatrade events. This conference, ladies and gentlemen, organized by India Seatrade, is the destination for Indian container and bulk cargo trade, bringing together shippers and logistics service providers. Coastal shipping and inland water transport have been the main areas of deliberations since 2013. Our online portal, India Seatrade News, delivers the most relevant, India-focused expert news coverage on the shipping, ports, and logistics sectors. This includes news and updates on shipping markets, investments in ports and logistics infrastructure, coastal shipping, inland waterways, and news from the government agencies. From breaking news, technological advances, to shipping activities, India Seatrade News brings everything onto a single platform for you. While the first 3 editions of this Multimodal Logistics Summit focused on the logistics connectivity and efficiency in the western and northern regions of the country, this 4th edition will have a strong focus and emphasis on the eastern region of India. The eastern seacoast, home to 6 major ports, Visakhapatnam, Paradeep, Kolkata, Chennai, Ennore, and Tuticorin, is always bustling with the movement of raw material like coal and iron ore, as well as finished goods. The eastern seaboard is mainly patronized by users for the movement of bulk cargo and break bulk cargo, in addition to containerized cargo. These seaports serve a vast hinterland including Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and the northeastern states through Bangladesh. This region is also the gateway to the landlocked countries of Nepal and Bhutan, whose imports and exports happen through Kolkata and Visakhapatnam, as you know. Ladies and gentlemen, As we commence this memorable and insightful conference, India Seatrade is immensely grateful to all our sponsors, exhibitors, and supporters. Allow me to call out their names. Without them, this never would have happened. APJ Infra Logistics, Speedways Logistics Private Limited, Jodak Shipping, Navdeep Shipping Private Limited, Bothra Group, Global Logistics Solutions India Private Limited, Kamal Enterprises, Shravan Shipping Services Private Limited, Vishakhapatnam Port Logistics Park, AME Enterprises, Abrao Group, Integral Trading and Logistics, OSL Group, Pushpak Logistics Solutions, Satwa Logistics Group, TM International Logistics, Vishakha Container Terminal, Star Container Services, Expressway Group, Freya Shipping, Bharat Chemical, Astro Freight and Logistics Private Limited, Central Warehousing Corporation, Five Star Group, Hans Infomike Private Limited, Vishakhapatnam Container Line Association, Vishakhapatnam Steamship Agents Association, Vishakhapatnam Custom Brokers Association, Vishakhapatnam Stevedores Association, National Association of Container Freight Station. Now that is a long list of all our well-wishers and sponsors. The fact that they've such a long list is associated with us just speaks of the credibility that India Seatrade and this conference holds. So let's get started. APJ Infra Logistics presents the 4th edition of the Multimodal Logistics Summit 2023, powered by Speedways Logistics, co-presented by Jodak Shipping, organized by none other than India Seatrade, in association with Federation of Indian Export Organizations that we all call FIEO. Let's move on to the first session of the day. All our speakers are here, our moderator is here. What are we waiting for? The first session, ladies and gentlemen, is on the topic, India's East Coast, Springboard for Bulk and Container Trade. This session focuses on making the East Coast much more resilient towards handling bulk and break bulk cargoes. To discuss and debate on the topic, I would like to invite the dignitaries on stage. First, I'd like to invite, of course, with a loud round of applause, Mr. Adip Pal Chaudhary, Director Services, Barmer Lorry and Company. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Adip Nath Pal Chaudhary is a seasoned professional with over 28 years of corporate experience, currently serving on the board of Vishakhapatnam Port Logistics Park Limited, a joint venture between Barmer Lorry and Vishakhapatnam Port Authority. He is also driving the Barmer Lorry Startup Fund initiative in the company. He holds a BE in Electronics and Communication from the University of Roorkee, which is now known as the IIT Roorkee, and a PGDM from IIM Lucknow. He is a PMP and a CISA and is recognized as a registered corporate coach by Worldwide Association of Business Coaches, WABC. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Adip Pal Chaudhary with us. Welcome, sir. Kindly be seated. Let's move on to our next speaker for the day. Mr. V. Jeevan Vikas, President, Vishakhapatnam Container Lines Association. A seasoned and accomplished leader in the shipping industry with over 23 years of experience, Mr. Vikas is the Vice President and Head of Freight Vertical for Seaways Group. He played an instrumental role in bringing several shipping lines into the Vishakhapatnam market right from its blooming stage. He is also spearheading the Vishakhapatnam Container Lines Association as its president. He holds a master's degree in business administration and master's degree in commerce from Andhra University, Vishakhapatnam. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. V. Jeevan Vikas for you. Welcome, sir. Let's move on to our next speaker, but you should make a deal with me that the applauses are going to be stronger. I can only see one table applauding. We want all of you. Let's give them a loud round of applause. All right, moving on to our next speaker. Mr. B.G. Gandhi, CEO, Adani Gangavaram Port Private Limited. Mr. B.G. Gandhi is an accomplished senior management professional who brings with him 31 plus years of experience in the multimodal logistics industry. He presently leads Adani Gangavaram Port at Vishakhapatnam, AP. A seasoned professional, having worked with the government and private seaports across the length and breadth of India for 30 years. He looks forward to bringing in value and enriching experience in sustainable development and inclusive growth. We look forward to listening to you, sir. Welcome to the panel. Yes, let's move on to our next guest for the day. Captain Sudeep Banerjee, Terminal Head, Vishakha Container Terminal Private Limited. Captain Sudeep Banerjee, ladies and gentlemen, a master mariner, is a maritime professional with 28 years of experience in shipping and port industry. He has been associated with JM Baxi Ports and Logistics for over 12 years in various leadership roles across different terminals. He is presently the terminal head of Visakhapatnam Container Terminal under Visakhapatnam Port Authority. Prior to this, he was the terminal head of Haldia Container Terminal under Kolkata Port Authority and Paradeep Multi-Purpose Terminal under Paradeep Port Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Sudeep Banerjee for you. Welcome, Captain, to this panel. Let's move on to our next guest. Please join me in inviting Mr. N. Krishna Kumar, Senior Vice President, MSc Agency, India Private Limited. Mr. Krishna Kumar, a BSc Physics graduate from Loyola College and an MBA from Great Lakes Institute of Management, started as a management trainee with AP Mola Maersk Group in 1993. He has wide experience across freight forwarding, supply chain management, and liner shipping industries. Currently, he is managing MSc Line in South India. Welcome, sir. Let's welcome Mr. Ravi Sinha, AGM Logistics, Jindal Stainless Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ravi Sinha is an MSc MBA having 23 years of rich experience in handling EXIM cargo operations from all major ports in India. Let's look forward to his insights today. Welcome to the panel, sir. Kindly be seated. Let's move on to our next guest for the day, Mr. Biju Ravi, Vertical Sales Head, SME, BCOs and Forwarders, Maersk India Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Biju Ravi has been the head of SME, BCOs and Forwarding Vertical South Asia since the beginning of 2020 and has previously held positions within Maersk as interim country manager and as head of sales for Submarine for 13 years. Prior to that, he had worked in PIL and freight systems for 10 years. He has vast experience in India holding various leadership positions. He has successfully developed the Submarine brand in India until it was completely integrated into Maersk in 2020. Let's welcome Mr. Biju Ravi. Welcome, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Mr. G. Sambashiva Rao, Managing Director, Shravan Shipping Services Private Limited, here today to moderate the first session and to set the tone of the discussions. Mr. Rao has more than 40 years of experience in shipping industry by handling end-to-end logistics. He is the first person to start a CFS in Andhra Pradesh in private sector bank in 2004, followed by a second CFS in 2015. Under his able leadership, Shravan Shipping handles about 150 clients in EXIM trade and has about 12 lakh square feet of covered warehouses along with 100% owned equipment and a fleet of trucks and trailers. Ladies and gentlemen, with a with a lot of pride and with a lot of happiness, let's welcome the moderator of the first session, Mr. Sambashivan Rao, sir. Welcome, sir. Handing over the floor to you. Also, when we move on to the Q&A session, let me remind you that mics have been placed, as you can see, towards either sides. Please walk up to the mic and ask your questions. But for now, over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Respected my friends, Mr. Adit Pal Chaudhary from Barmalari, Mr. B.J. Gandhi, CEO Adani Gangavaram Port Limited, my friend Mr. Jeevan Vikas, then Captain Banerjee from VCTPL, then Mr. Krishna Kumar Garu from MSc, Mr. Ravi Sinha, Jindal Steels, and Mr. Biju Ravi from Maersk, and all the trade members, welcome to Visakhapatnam and good afternoon to all of you. I am very happy when Mr. India Seatrade has brought all the people under one platform, as a industry, as a exporter, as a importer, and as a container operator, train operator, container lines operator, CFS operators, CHAs, exporters, importers. We all as a part of the system, because our end of the day, our aim is to improve the one way the logistic cost, and the same time our honorable Prime Minister say make in India concept. What are the products we are making in the country? What are the products we are exporting? For exporting, what are the facilities available with us? It may be through container, it may be bulk cargo, it may be break bulk, whatever it may be, even LCL cargoes and all these things, because all the operators, it may be government ports and private ports and private and government together, all people are working as a team. That way, Visakhapatnam especially, we can say this is the gateway for east coast of India, because this port, Visakhapatnam port, continuously keep 4 years as number one position in all India about the number of this and the way the cargo we are handling in Visakhapatnam. Afterwards, Gangavaram came here, certain cargo shifted from here to there. Then afterwards, right now, because we are in number 4 position by handling the cargo. And welcome, sir, Ravindranath Reddy Garu, my friend from AP Maritime. So like that, even our honorable CM also, his aim is to give more priority for the ports. Already AP operating 6 ports and 4 more ports are in the process. I think maybe another 2 years, all these ports also will come into operation. End of the day, the economy in Visakhapatnam, in Andhra Pradesh, basically seabound cargo, exports and imports cargo. At the same time, whatever the opportunities are there in both the sides for exports and imports, because here we all are meeting here to work together as a team, because how best the facilities we can improve here, problems will be there always. We want to go for the solutions. That's what I will tell everyone. Even because I am in this industry for the last more than 43 years, we know what is right and what is wrong. At the time when we started the career, hardly 500 to 600 tons per day discharge rate is a good discharge rate. Today, you can see it is going in a different direction. Everybody have the target of 20,000, 25,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, like that, because the way we are also developing the infrastructure and going for mechanization, there is need of the hour. What is required today, what is tomorrow? What is tomorrow, we have to compete with the foreign countries because we have to bring down the cost of the freight. All these things matter. At the same time, what are the cargo we are getting? We have to evacuate the cargo from the ports 24/7. As a national logistics policy say, first mile and last mile connectivity, this is more important. So, as ma'am rightly say, what are the problems are there? This is one platform. We can work with the ministry, we can take with the ministry, not only this organization like India Seatrade, organization like CII, NACFS, FIEO, ASSOCHAM, all the state chambers, we all can work as a team. End of the day, we want to see that ease of doing business must happen in the country, and in the same time, today problem, we have to go for the tomorrow solution. So, in this direction, I am so happy to keep all the seniors and the panelists here. I welcome all my panelists, and first I request Mr. Adipal Chaudhary Garu, because he is Director Services Balmallari. His company is more than 150 years old company. It is a government company. They put the CFS in Visakhapatnam in association with the Visakhapatnam Port Trust, and they are doing their best because recently they also got the permission. So I request Mr. Adipal Chaudhary Garu to throw your idea. What is that we are going to work with the new facility? Because having 150 years experience, what is that we are going to bring the Asian cargo to this port, Asian customers to this port, and what is that your vision for developing the trade in this area? I request Mr. Adipal Chaudhary Garu to say a few words from here.
So, I'm from Calcutta, but I'll still say Mr. Samba Sivarao Garu. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and all my co-panelists out here and the members of the audience. So, Bamalori, as a lot of people know, is a very old organization, 156 years old, and founded by 2 Scotsmen. And one of the first businesses that we were in is actually logistics. And at that point of time, we had started bringing Scotch whiskey from Scotland to India. So to that extent, I think the industry and the company has changed. Company has done different things, but logistics has kind of remained, and that's why. I'm proud to be here and speaking to all of you. Now, we've got this company going, Visakhapatnam Port Logistics Private Limited, Park Limited, in collaboration with Vizag Port Authority. So I think there are a lot of firsts associated. It's designed as a multimodal logistics hub, not just as a CFS. So the organization was in, I would say, drawing boards for quite some time, and in a way, I have to give a lot of credit to the predecessors of ourselves in Bamalori, because they had thought about a multimodal logistics hub way before it became a buzzword or reality in today's terms. Because right now, if you see, the government is very, very gung-ho bullish about MMLP. And there are probably 35 MMLPs which are coming up, 50,000 crores worth of investment going in. Quite a few have already been set up, and they're being set up in public-private partnership. So so in a way, the thinking that had gone behind this particular project was, I would say, very visionary, very forward-thinking. It's an equity JV. It's not just a lease agreement. It's an equity JV between two organizations, one Vizag Port and the second is Bamallori. So that is one. Second thing, it's designed with facilities like cold chain, 15 chambers of cold chamber, 15 chambers are there, covered warehouse, the rail coming out there. So in a way, the thinking has been in order to provide, I think, a full service logistics solution, which in my mind is the need of the hour for us as an organization, for us as a trade, because it's not about one asset versus the other. There's no we will end up probably nowhere with just competing on assets. So we have to compete through solution, and how we are able to package everything together and become more of a logistics solution company or a logistics solution group, I would say, because we are at the end of the day Vizag ecosystem, and the Vizag ecosystem is competing maybe with the Calcutta ecosystem or maybe competing with the Chennai ecosystem to draw in cargo. Or so to that extent, we are proud that we have put in this investment, because we believe that this is giving overall Visakhapatnam a boost, and in the process, I think we will be able to attract a fair bit of cargo, trade, and so that's something that we want to do. And in a way, if you look at beyond Vizag, if you look at our investments in the East Coast in the last maybe 5-7 years, I think, including of course VPLPL, we probably would have done almost beyond 300 to 350 crores. Because we've got a warehouse actually at Vizag in the AP MedTech zone. Then we've got we've got cold chain at Bhubaneswar. So, and also I don't know, Hyderabad, it's a borderline, not really east-east, but then Telangana. So we've got a cold chain at Hyderabad. Then we've come up with warehouses in Calcutta CFS, in Chennai CFS. So a lot of, I would say in that sense, that we are putting the money where our mouth is, and there we are building, modernizing assets to make sure that we are able to serve the trade, serve the economy, and contribute towards Prime Minister's goal of bringing the logistics cost down, because this is a number which keeps bandied about, I would say, that India's logistics cost is around 14-15% of the GDP, whereas international markets, advanced players, they would be operating around 8-9%. So this 5-6% delta is actually making us that less competitive. So if we are able to come up with solutions which are, I think, bringing in technology, bringing in this kind of multimodal scale, I think that's one of the means of bringing logistics costs down. And before I end, I just want to talk about one more thing, is the modal mix, because India is an overwhelming road transport country, whereas if you look at other international markets, it is a lot of rail and a lot of water, so both coastal as well as inland. And India, however, is predominantly road. So I think Vizag, it's a great example of where coastal, so water, and rail, that can flourish a lot more. And as these flourish, they will become cheaper, they will be more green, and hence contribute towards bringing the cost of logistics, total cost of logistics down. And I think this probably would be, I would say, prototype which will get played out in different parts of the country. So I think it's going to be pretty good ride as we go along in the next maybe 10-12 years. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adipal Chaudhary Garu. The way when the company started, as you rightly say, from the transportation of whiskey more than 150 years. Today, we have presence at all East Coast ports, especially based at because you have your own travel division, lubricants, like that different business your company will be already having. And as you rightly say, how to reduce the logistic costs. You have the inside itself, you have the rake facility, so that multiple handling costs can come down. So it will be going to the advantage of the exporters and importers. But we welcome you for with the latest facility, whatever you are having, whatever you are working, sir, we are with you. And as a senior operator in the East Coast, whatever the clients are there, kindly bring them to here in the ports. It may be VCTPL, it may be tomorrow Adani Gangavaram port, because we have to work with both the ports. We want to see that both are be competitive and comfortable for doing ease of doing business. Thank you, sir. Now I request my friend Mr. BJ Gandhi, CEO of Gangavaram, Adani Gangavaram port, because we are very happy, sir, the way you are handling the creating the records, per day rate of discharge and all these things. And at the same time, because we can say we are proud of the handling what is happening in the report. At the same time, what is your future plans? What are the infrastructure you are going to do? What about I would like to request you to highlight regarding the liquid cargo? What is your plan? What is that you are working, sir? We'd like, all our friends would like to know. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Thank you, India Seatrade. Our veteran Sambasira Garu, my co-panelist, and the eminent personalities from trade and logistics, and also the government functionaries who are here to listen to us and support us as a way forward in this particular concept. We call logistics, it used to be only commerce and commerce, but now we cannot say that. Logistics is nothing but commerce, science and art of doing what we are doing in our trade, at the same time how we are doing it. And when our Honorable Prime Minister has recently announced that India is at the cusp of, say, Amrutkal. Amrutkal is where everybody get good opportunity. There is a vast ocean open there of opportunities when India's population is like going and hitting very, very high. A young population is there waiting for the opportunities created in different parts in our industry, in manufacturing, service, be it agri, be it logistics, everywhere. And while saying so, while we are working towards that to achieve those heights in every aspect of our life, in logistics is an integral part. And while on the journey, the entire world is looking at a very, very different scenario as a depression or recession, but everybody is looking with hope towards India that whatever problems are there for a big country like India, whether it was implementing GST or during COVID, the way we have implemented Aadhaar, for everything, world is looking at India. And when we say so, the springboard we say East Coast. Now for logistics, when we use springboard, there is a lot of energy getting into the subject. And we all should be ready to ensure that that energy channelized in the right way. And in its entirety, the end-to-end logistic, the end user, that is consumer, in the end, shall get most economical, sustainable solution for his work. As we go along in the session, we'll be looking at so many other aspects, and that time will unfold many other facets of this logistic trade. Thank you.
Thank you, Gandhi Garu, for your message. Now I request my friend Mr. Jeevan Vikas. He is the president of the Container Liners Association. As everybody knows, Visakhapatnam, majority of the cargo is imports, not exports. At the same time, recently, as per government policy, a lot of agri commodities are exporting from here. So again, there is a challenge for the agri commodities containers, agri feed containers. And when 40 foods are coming up here, again, the challenge, what cargo we can put inside. And this is the problem, I need solution and advice, so that end of the day, we also have to work as a team and where we can get the cargo, how to attract the customers in this place, how to balance. I don't see when we are in the container is coming up here, we don't want empty to move from here to there. We want with cargo, it has to move from these places. That's what I feel, sir. So I want Mr. Jeevan to give your opinion to all our friends.
First of all, good afternoon, everybody. A warm welcome. I thank India Seatrade for organizing this multimodal summit for the benefit of the shipping industry. Of course, as you all know, the shipping industry one big accelerator for any country's economy. India also, it is no exception. So India having a wide coastline over 7,500 kilometers, divided into two coasts, west coast and east coast. Definitely, this summit is based on East Coast. The name what they kept as springboard is definitely, East Coast is definitely a big springboard for the Far East and Southeast Asia cargoes and also to various other sectors in the world. Coming to Mr. Samsivara's question about containers in specific. Of course, his first question was availability of containers is there or not. Of course, Vizag is always, from the beginning, it is a little deficit location, but of late, it balanced out with more and more shipping lines and more cargo. The hinterland development has happened. Now, is also container availability is there. So, we would like to utilize the availability of the containers to all the trade, especially the EXIM people. I should definitely congratulate and thank the shipping lines. Many of my shipping lines friends are there. Even if there are no containers or a deficit of containers, like he said, more of exports, less of imports. The bridging that gap between the imports and exports, shipping lines always bringing the empty containers on their own cost without adding much on the trade. So they're bringing the empty containers not less than 10,000, over 10,000 TEUs per month to support the trade. So that is there. But like the way the hinterland has to develop, instead of bringing empties all the ways, we have to make sure that Vizag should be a surplus location and inbound. So unless if it is a surplus location, then only you will not see the change of the freight rates going down or stabilizing and all. Like if you see the neighboring ports like Chennai or the Calcutta, both these ports, the neighboring ports to Vizag is all surplus locations. More of imports, less of exports. But unlike Vizag, is more of export, less of imports. But in that fashion also, shipping lines are supporting the trade by bringing the empty containers and all. And likewise, he said one more thing, 40-foot cargoes. Of course, that is another challenge. In fact, way back, about a decade back, any 40-footers which are coming into Vizag used to empty repo because there's no much of 40-foot cargoes. But now, slowly developed, especially Mr. Ravi Sinha or many other steel giants. So they use 40-footers because of the length of the cargo and all. And few of other cargoes like, coffee people and also. There is slowly substantial cargo is even developed for 40-footers where there is no need of 40s to be, empty reposition back to any of the neighboring ports or the transshipment hubs. That is what, sir? Is there anything more you would like to?
Yeah, one more thing, sir. Regarding this one, when the port is operating 24/7, when the customs is operating 24/7, why not the lines can operate 24/7? CFS operating, customs brokers operating, everybody operating except the lines. Can we work out anything on it so that ease of doing business can improve in our country? That's what I feel.
This question is most of the forums being asked on to the shipping line people because I think the port, customs, everybody is working 24/7. They want the shipping lines also to work 24/7. I think my friend Biju Ravi, Maersk and MSC, they can also contribute on this. But of late, actually, shipping lines, of course, we work only to Monday to Friday, but physically, even if we are not there on Saturday, Sunday, but we are working because entire shipping lines are now changed into e-commerce. Everything is online. In few of the lines like BG Ravi, Maersk is operating with 2 or 3 people, even though they have about 30-40% share in the local market. So we are there, sir. Most of the things are online now, where human interventions is not required much. In fact, recently we had a session on digitization, so that has taken a place in shipping. So now everything can be online. Whatever you want, even on Saturday, Sunday also can be done online. Unless if there is any specific, there are again certain portals where emergency portal and all, you can approach the back offices and all, and you'll be able to get the things done, sir.
Thank you, Jeevan, for giving the clarity about some of the friends who always claim that Saturday, Sunday shipping lines are not operating. Anyhow, problems will be there because the advantage with the customs, even they post the people. It may be, it is also online, but people will be available 24/7. Any problem, people respond. Okay, and so that is our intention because when this is the ecosystem, everybody is working. Customs line, this one, container lines also part of the system. So we want everyone to work as a team. Thank you, sir. I request Captain Sudeep Banerjee Garu, Terminal Head of VCTPL. Sir, you are well aware, from 2003 onwards, the Visakhapatnam Container Terminal started from here. And afterwards, right now, you are gone for 3 berths. And what is that you are expecting cargo profile in Visakhapatnam? And what are the facilities you are going to, because to meet the demand of the traffic, what are the infrastructure facilities you are providing inside and of course outside is belong to the port trust. Anyhow, as a team again, whether you and we has to work with the port authorities, it may be local government or national government, depend upon the, even today we have the problem because 6 hours local police is stopping the cargo movement. If this is the way, stopping 6 hours, tomorrow it may lead to 8 hours, it may be 10 hours, 12 hours, like that. So we don't want. We want first mile connectivity and last mile connectivity. In that case, whatever you can do from your side, whatever the infrastructure you are providing, as a team, what we have to do, I need your advice, sir. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Sambasivarao Garu. Good afternoon to all the panelists, co-panelists here in the dais, all the dignitaries of the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Visakhapatnam. Thanks to India Seatrade for organizing this event. Coming back to the facilities and infrastructure, what we provide. So just to give an insight, Visakhapatnam Container Terminal is working under Paradeep Port Trust. It's a BOT project. So the phase 1 of the terminal started in the year way back 2003. So we are operating for last 20 years. So wealth of experience with us. Now phase 2 we commissioned last year. It's also a 30 years BOT. So combining phase 1 and phase 2, our capacity is now 13 lakh TEUs annually. Earlier it used to be 6 lakhs, now it's augmented to 13 lakhs. Infrastructure addition, I can tell you 1,000 crores have been put into the phase 2. We got our yard capacity expanded by 40 acres. Our berth length expanded by 395 meters. Now we have the longest key line in the east coast of India. That's 845 meters. We have 9 rail-mounted key cranes to operate on the ships. We have about 19 rubber tire gantry cranes, that's the yard cranes which operate inside the yard, along with several reach stackers. So what I'm trying to emphasize is capacity has been augmented, infrastructure is already there in place to cater to the road movement, as you are mentioning, sir. The Terminal 2 now has 6 lanes. So our truck turnaround time has reduced from erstwhile 45 to 46 minutes, which used to take. Now it's less than half an hour. The trailer which comes inside goes out in less than half an hour. Vessel side, the turnaround time have reduced from 28 hours to 21 hours. Because we have now Terminal 2, as I said, with super speed, superposed Panamax cranes, which are high-speed cranes. So our crane productivities have increased substantially. We clock almost 30 containers in an hour. That's the gross crane rate. So the vessels are turning around so fast. Obviously, it's an added advantage to the vessel operators. the trucks are turning around fast inside the terminal. Now, we do have container scanner facility also, which is commissioned, you all must be aware, which is just adjacent to the terminal. So it's an added advantage. We have, lot of digitization has taken place inside the terminal. So it starts from the moment the truck enters the terminal. The truck driver doesn't have to get down to do his activities. It is just a seamless interface with our gate operators. He doesn't have to even get down. He gets his slip at the kiosk and he moves inside the port. Once he goes there, then all the containers, everything is offloaded and it automatically gets fed into the terminal operating software. And vice versa, when it is getting delivered, nobody is getting down to search for the containers. It's all in the toss, and as per the delivery ticket which is being given by the lines to them, by the CFSs, he just goes to the yard, the container is delivered and he moves out. So it's seamless. Sir, coming back to your question of about 6 hours waiting, perhaps about 10-12 kilometers away from the terminal, we are aware of this. There was a restriction imposed by the Commissioner of Police on this aspect because some fatalities took place on those roads. Yes, with the new commissioner in place, with your due support, we should, perhaps go and meet him again and pursue him to, look into this matter. So, thank you, sir.
I'd like to add a few more things from Captain Sudhi. In fact, many of the people might be knowing or may not be knowing, being from the container industry, the Vizag terminal is the state-of-art terminal. I don't think any other on the East Coast, being a springboard on the East Coast, Vizag is definitely, once again, can be called. And we have 15 services all across the world. There are straight service to main lines to European trade. There are about 3 main lines to China, covering all Southeast Asia, Far East. There's a couple of main lines to Middle East, other than the feeder vessels to Colombo and Singapore and Port Klang. So there is, coming with the Terminal 2 open and the Gangavaram container terminal coming up, even the future congestion is also answered well. And apart from that, even the off-dock facilities like the CFSs and the warehouses also is all for container industry. We are in Vizag, it is underutilized. The capacity is more, but the volumes are less. Maybe the hinterland has to develop more and more main lanes can come, the freight rates will stabilize or it will further go down, provided if the hinterland cargoes develop and all. Because the services are there, only thing the cargo has to improve now. Basis that maybe more and more main lanes can come into Vizag, because even the port side, they are trying to encourage by giving whatever the best discounts they can be, it can be possible and all. So this is, I would like to just add on to this, sir.
Definitely, Captain sir, you rightly say the efficiency has improved inside the terminal. Because end of the day, the cost of logistics is not only inside, even outside also. It may not be yours directly, but part of the system. We have to work with the state administration, we have to work with them, we have to answer whatever safety problems and all these things, how to work it out, how to avoid this one, widen the roads, how to take care of the safety aspect, how to improve the national logistic policy and PM Gati Shakti, how to take care of the systems. Business is not only for today, sir. We have to see what is 10 years, what is 20 years. So like that, whenever, if we work out for 20, 25 years, what is that in the future, then definitely our cost of logistics, as a stakeholders, everybody is responsible. As a CFS operator, as a terminal operator, as a CHA, as a local administration, as a municipal authorities, every part of the team, we have to work it out. And definitely, as a turnaround, as a vessel, as you rightly say, 28 hours to 21 hours, good, we are very happy. When the vessels are there, you are one way, loading, unloading from the ship in the same time. You are taking care of the even the rail network, and at the same time local deliveries. All three simultaneously we are giving. We are very happy, sir. We are so happy the way you are giving. But at the same time, let us work together as a team, and whatever the external problems also, let us sort it out. As my friends say, we have to improve trade in this area. we have to get we have to tell the customers what facilities we have in your area. So that end of the day, trade in Visakhapatnam has to improve, trade in Andhra Pradesh has to improve under the able leadership of our Honorable CM and all the vision of our Honorable PM. Both has to work in line, then this will be good, sir. Thank you very much, Captain. Now I request Mr. Krishna Kumar Garu, Vice President, Senior Vice President of MSc. Sir, you are in your number one agency in the container lines you are working. At the same time, what we feel, sir, can we improve more direct line vessels to Visakhapatnam so that our freight rate will come down? So, what is your plan, sir? What is today, after 10 years, after 25 years, what is that we are working? Because end of the day, because we have good hinterland, sir, good facilities, because in all the ports, ease of doing business is there in Andhra ports. Maybe Visakhapatnam, it might be Gangavaram, Kakinada, Krishnapatnam, everywhere. So, this facility is there, a good hinterland like Telangana, Chhattisgarh. This one, even Madhya Pradesh, we are getting the cargo, Nepal, even Calcutta may be nearer, but more of the Nepal cargo we are handling from Visakhapatnam, because that shows the ease of doing business in Andhra Pradesh. So, I request you to highlight what is your business plan, what is that we can work as a team with you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Samsagaru, and my esteemed guests, speakers in the panel. It's a good question. More services so that this can help the EXIM trade. As a shipping line, we are also eager to expand and put in more services. I just have a generic presentation on the theme of East Coast as a springboard. So I'll just take it through. Some of these questions would be answered there, sir. Good afternoon once again. I thank the organizers, India Seatrade, for giving us all an opportunity to come together for this important event where we put the subjects that is close to our heart and have very concrete discussions, some of which could be taken up to the ministry level for concrete implementation. So I just have a couple of slides I will run through on this theme, please. So when we are talking about India as a East Coast as a springboard, let's look at the overall picture. It's not just about East Coast, we're talking about India itself is in the cusp of taking off. So from that, we will come to East Coast as a springboard for success. So when we say it's advantage India, we would have been very fortunate that during the COVID and the period after this, Indian economy has stood out, and it's one of the fastest growing big-sized economy in the world. So we are fortunate to be, as part of Indians, being away from a lot of the turbulences that we see in our own neighborhood. Unfortunately, whether it's Sri Lanka or Pakistan or other countries which had economic collapse. So one of the reasons why we feel India is going to be a huge country going forward is the amount of middle class that is expanding. If you look at it, in 1985, it was hardly anybody who could claim to be part of this middle class group. Now, over the years, it's more than 60%. The expanding middle class means the consumption in our country is going to grow. So the basic facilities, whether it's going to be a car in the house or all the electrical appliances, there are going to be a lot of consumption. So when there is a huge burgeoning market from the middle class, we are sure to have an economy which consumes a lot. A market that consumes will grow, and to aid the growth, whether we are in shipping, bringing the products in and out, or the last mile and first mile facility provided by the CFSs or the freight stations, it will be of paramount importance. So one of the reasons why we feel that India is going to grow is the growing middle class. So if you could run through these points, if you can go to the next slide. I'm sorry I don't have the control, so I have to request the colleagues there to do that. Yeah. So as I said, now the population, middle class population is gone up and expected to be around 44% in 2030, and that's good news for us. So imagine 500 million people in the middle class. 500 million is much more than the population of most of the countries in the world, in some continents even. So that's the economic power that we are talking about. So one of the reasons why we feel very positive about India is the growing middle class. And the Next reason is, this is also something that most people have talked about. We have already started seeing this China plus one strategy. In a nutshell, what we are saying China plus one strategy is that the world is starting to realize, unfortunately through the COVID, that too much of reliance on China is holding back their supply chains. So most of these big retailers and most of the big customers in Europe and USA are starting to expand their purchase away from China. It's very difficult to replace China in one go, so what they are trying to do in different commodity segments is to have China as the main partner, but also expand to other countries which can take up the capacity in a small measure, right? So there is a lot of surveys done, and one of them says that India is the next biggest market which can take the opportunities. But let me say that it's not going to be easy, because we have a lot of strong competing, smaller but very dynamic countries in South Asia, Southeast Asia especially, Vietnam, Thailand and Cambodia. But if you look at the graph there, it says roughly 30% of all the manufacturing is done in China, and India is only around 3%. So even if we assume that 10% of that manufacturing capacity leaves China, right, that is 3%. And even if we assume we are only going to get a small part of it, that itself is 1%, that will expand our economy by 25% if China plus one strategy starts reaping the benefits. We have already started seeing that this process did not start with COVID. This started prior to COVID, when China was actively clamping down due to environmental concerns. This is just expedited because of COVID, and in many industries, especially in chemicals, in specialty chemicals, India is now a name to reckon with, right? We don't need China's downfall to be our positive, but for various strategic reasons, if that is what the global partners want, we should be ready to lap onto that opportunity. So that's the second one. The third one is, this is something that we have always lived around with, a very big population, right? It's very momentous that we are having this event today, this year, because this month we in fact surpassed China in the population, right? There are very few things we can hold our head high and say that we are better than China, and we have proved that by having the biggest population. For a long time, this big population is always a problem for the country. How do we feed this number of people, right? But this, if properly utilized, could be our winning factor. This word gets touted around called demographic dividend, right? What it essentially means is, from age group 16 to 60, this is called a working population in any country, right? The population below 16 and above 60 are dependent on these working population, right? So in the graph, from the 60s onwards, the number of percentage of our population dependent on the working population was as high as 70-75%. And that comes narrowing down. In 2018, the number of people who are working and taking care of the two ends of the age spectrum is higher. So there are more productive people in the field, right? So when that happens, then their job market comes in. More productive people are in the workforce. So we've already seen Japan had this demographic dividend. Italy had this demographic dividend. They're all well past the demographic dividend, meaning they are an aging population. There are not enough workforces. So if you look at Japan or Italy today, they have one of the best brands in automobiles or most of the products that you can think of. But if they wanted to expand their manufacturing, they cannot do it in their own countries. That's the simple but sad truth. So they have to look at countries where they would have land, they would have people, and a pipeline of talented, educated, English-speaking, preferably people, and that's what India brings in, right? With that inherent talent and the demographic dividend on our side, for the next 30-odd years, we will have the youngest working population. This is really going to help us be ready for all the new factories to come here and expand. So briefly, the three reasons why we mentioned that India itself is going to grow. There are positive trends for India. So moving on, we are looking at coming to the East Coast. We are saying it's going to poised to take off. And why do we say that? Is any business, especially the export-import business, if it has to succeed, if it has to win, two things have to be in place, right? One is government policies, which are the supporting environment, creating a good ecosystem, and adequate infrastructure. That's where we come in, our friends in terminals and container freight station come in. If the infrastructure and government policies combine well, then entrepreneurs here and elsewhere in India will boom. So coming to government policies, a lot of you would have heard about this Prime Minister's Gati Shakti Master Plan. This is a huge plan with a projected cost of $1.2 trillion. What this basically means is, for the first time, they have mapped every airport, seaport, container freight stations, and every form of movement of cargo, and making the ports connectivity and port-based development. So this plan is very, very seriously taken by the government, and there are a lot of people working on this plan, and it is being monitored on a weekly basis by Prime Minister's office. So this is a plan, and based on this plan, there are a lot of action items that are coming in. One of them that got launched in September last year was the National Logistics Plan, which basically for the first time means that many departments, 13 government ministries are working together. Around 54 secretary level people from different departments are working together to ensure that anything connected with export and import cargo gets a same system. So the idea of providing transparency, visibility is to ensure, like what Mr. Samsivarao and others was touting about, this 14% cost bringing down, right? Some of these policies are ensuring they give you a platform where people can know about any and every cargo that flows through, right from the factory up to the port. Instead of people working in different systems, there is a system created where everybody can log in and use these services. Then also, one district, one product is another big initiative by the government. 13 of the 26 districts in Andhra are covered under this one district, one product. What is very important is that not many people know that Indian postal system is one of the best postal systems, with offices and access at the remotest parts of India. So they are also playing an important role now that we all moved to emails, right, and SMSs or whatnot. The postal system is now revamping to act as courier companies, insurance agents, and so on and so forth. So they will be promoting not only external trade, they are also promoting internal trade. So this is one more policy where each of the district, given its inherent competencies, is groomed to not only do XM but also internally do a trade. And the last but very important government policy is the production-linked incentives. This is a very landmark policy because government is not saying that we want SMEs and micro companies to have a democratic right to survive and give them tax benefits. For a change, this is a little bit elitist, so to speak. What it essentially means is they want the big companies to get much bigger and think global. So there are 13 sectors where the government has offered close to $28 billion. Okay, the plan is very simple. Whatever the production, if the production ramps up over a 5-year period, the government will pay back those companies that cost of setting up the additional capacity. And this is not just through reduction in the taxes, corporate taxes, but actually paying out these monies. So this is a massive system, and we are already seeing the benefits of it. Just to let you know, electronics sector, we have already seen 98% of the mobile phones, sir, that we use today are all manufactured in India. In fact, we are a net exporter as of this year for mobile phones. So electronics is one of the first verticals which benefited from this scheme. So we talked about government policies, and coming to infrastructure, a lot of us know about the western side dedicated freight corridor. Not many people know that there are work progressing at a very good speed on the eastbound dedicated freight corridor. One of this is expected to be, some of the phases are expected already done, and some of them are expected to be up and running from middle of next year. In a nutshell, what this will do is, we already started seeing in the western corridor two big developments. One, you would have double stack trains, cargo trains. The moment on the same track you have double stack train running, the cost of transportation will come down. Some of the estimates says minimum 20% reduction will be there on the cost of transport. This again, sir, directly goes into what we are talking about, bringing the logistic cost less than 14% of the GDP. This will do. And once this dedicated corridor comes in, the government is also seriously looking at what is called Python trains. Python trains are these long trains which are basically 3 normal rakes put together that can haul much, much more than what a conventional 95 wagon goods carrier is hauling. So you would get more containers and more cargo transported in a short span of time. So this will directly benefit on the long run. So we're talking about government policies where setting up infrastructure is concerned. So to grow, you need to have capacity. Now, just looking at that bar graph, the one in the blue is what is the amount of cargo that India, East Coast has handled. In the last 15 to 18 years, if you look at it, it's been consistent. Anywhere between 24 to 28% is what the East Coast ports have handled. There's nothing much that has happened in spite of more terminals coming up, more shipping lines offering services. It's only 24 to 26%, right? And we look, if I can go back to the last slide, please. If I look at all these ports put together, when I say the cities, I mean all the terminals put together, there is 10.3 million TEU capacity available. We are just less than 50% utilization. So there is no problem with the terminal capacity. The terminal capacities are enough and more. As Jeevan was saying, if more and more customers are utilizing these facilities, like mother vessel is already there. So we just need the entrepreneurial spirit to be spurred up. And if that is done, the terminals are ready. Because the terminals are ready, we hope they are also commercially ready when we come calling to them, right? That is one of the major factors. They have to be ready when we come with ships. So the terminals are also ready. And the last point why we feel that East Coast will grow is if you look at India's trading pattern, I'm sorry if that is not eligible, what it basically captures is the top 10 products both on imports and exports that India trades with. And the 5 countries that we trade with both on imports and exports, the ones that are in green are all countries in our east. It's either China or Vietnam or Cambodia or even Bangladesh. So you look at it, there are so many greens here, which essentially means that bulk of India's trading pattern is eastbound. But for other reasons, a lot of the cargo, even in the hinterland, which could ideally come from the middle part of India to East Coast geographically, is coming via West Coast, Nhava Sheva, for example, or Mundra. There are reasons for that. That will change, that must change. And once that happens, with, as I said, improved hinterland connectivity through the dedicated freight corridor and the terminal capacity which we saw is we are only operating at 50%, and the emerging trading patterns where with all said and done, China and Far East is our biggest trading partners. We are sure that East Coast will certainly explode, sir. Thank you very much for the time. Yeah.
Thank you, Krishna Kumar Garu, for giving the detailed presentation. Yes, as you rightly say, definitely a lot of opportunities to reduce the cost. At the end of the day, our country also, our Honorable PM also working for a Make in India concept. They are doing their best to improve. Once upon a time, we are importing all the materials. Now we are in the process of exporting. At the same time, China +1 is a good advantage for a country like India because we have a lot of opportunity. Many state governments are competing to get the investments. It may be Andhra Pradesh, it may be Tamil Nadu, it may be Gujarat, Maharashtra, like that everybody wants. Okay, come and invest with us. Like that, this is a good concept, even Telangana. Everybody is coming forward. But recently, one of my friend I told, even for startups, people like Jharkhand, they are in front run. Why they are in front run? They want, everybody want to, it's a competitive. For state to state, it is a very competition. End of the day, fittest will survive. We give the better facilities, better industrial atmosphere, then only they only will come up. By buying all these things, as you rightly say, definitely we can do better. And as a population, as you rightly say, yes, we have good population. Our people only there in US market and all things. And Dubai, when many of the carriers will go to Dubai, from there you get a lot of foreign exchange to the country. Country is more powerful because of the foreign exchange reserves and all these things. Because people who are going in abroad, all are educated people. So they're not only contributing for the economy of the country, they are also making money, and they are also individually they are making more. This one, sir. Very happy, whatever the way you are given the dedication, this one, all the details. Thank you very much, sir. Even we are also have good Chennai, Visakhapatnam corridor is there, PCPR corridor and all these things. These are the somehow things has to come up. Something are there, as you rightly say, it may be starting. The good advantage is the entire East Coast, the advantage is well-connected rail network from Calcutta to Chennai to the up to end, we are well-connected. At the same time, water is there, then the rail is there, then the road is there. All one by one, it's a good connectivity. We have the good advantage. Only thing we have to take them in right spirit, we have to develop. Thank you very much, sir, for your excellent presentation. Thank you. Kindly give a round of applause, the way he has taken a lot of time to do it. Thank you, sir. I request my friend, Mr. Ravi Kumar Sinha, he is the exporter, and they are also doing not only coils, the group, they are handling different cargoes. So as an importer and exporter, by you as a user of the ports, what is that you are expecting, sir? What facilities these ports need something more? Because as a port user, you must think, okay, I want this type of facility, I want this type of facility. It may be railway sidings, other railway sidings are well covered, other railway sidings are having the proper railway sheds cover, whether what about the pollution angle and all these things, because what are the product you are exporting tomorrow, it cannot have any black spot in the international market. What precautions you want terminals and ports to take so that our country, because our product, people has to say, oh, this is the best product. People cannot say this got contaminated. So that type of things, this what are your opinions, sir? Over to.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. On the dash and off the dash. I'm from Jindal Stainless Limited. As Rao Garu has asked me about the import activities and the benefits and facilities, I would like to tell you, sir, nowadays this logistics, there are different solutions available. Multimodal is the best solution, and we are utilizing almost all kinds of solutions available in the market. Nowadays, there are many changes happened in the logistics service provider also. Coming to Jindal Stainless, we are one of the biggest manufacturer of stainless steel in India. And to produce stainless steel, we are most of the time dependent on the import of raw materials. Stainless steel scrap is readily not available in India. We are heavily dependent on import of scrap and other commodities. We are getting almost 2.5 lakh ton of cargo inward every month and dispatching around 1.7 lakh metric ton of finished goods from the plant. So this is not a question now how to get the inward cargo and how to move the finished goods from the factory. Now we are more focused on how efficiently and effectively we can do the logistics part. Coming to moving of inward cargo, there are many tools available. We are actively participating in Gati Shakti scheme also, National Logistics Policy also, so that we can get the best possible solutions of inward and outward logistics activities. So this way we are actively participating, and I can tell you that we are using all modes of logistics tools. National logistics policy is very helpful for us, and this Gati Shakti scheme is also very helpful. We are using railway bound, heavily dependent now on railway dispatches. Road movement is also there, but 90-95% we are dependent on rail movement. Waterway solution is also a new solution that also we are utilizing, and we are planning to utilize at least for domestic dispatches in a big way, so that dependency on the railway will be reduced, dependency on the road movement will be reduced, and we are getting very good support for these coastal dispatches also. So putting all together the different tools, different schemes, different policies, launched in India, given by different companies, is very helpful. And this way only we can get the best available resources from the market. So I hope in coming days also we can get more tools, more facilities, and we can do logistics dispatches, logistics job very efficiently. So we are more focused on how to get the best possible available resources. So this way we are doing our efforts and improving day by day, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sinagaru. As you rightly say, when you are the happy customer, happy exporter and importer, whatever the facilities we are doing here, we are happy, end of the day, happy port user. Because the advantage beginning onwards in these ports operate 24/7. No Saturday, no Sunday, nothing. See, even COVID time, we all operated the same time, because people like in US and markets and all things, people say COVID, everybody stopped operation, whereas in India it's not like that. Even the terminal operators, CFS operators, CHS, labor, everybody work round the clock and everybody has done their best.
You'll be happy to know, sir, during COVID period also, our production was not reduced and inward-outward movement was not reduced. Rather, we have increased our production during COVID period also. And you will be happy to know that during that period, my export volume has increased by 50%.
Excellent, sir.
So there are many challenges during that period. Everyone knows what was the challenge, availability of the boxes, space, that, so many issues were. But during that period also, we'll be managed to increase our production and will be increase our export also by more than 50%. So increasing exports means we have produced more. To produce more, we have to get inward cargo more, and all these functions we have done during that COVID period also, and nothing was stopped. Plant production was not stopped for a single day even.
That is great in India, sir. Yeah, thank you. So now our last speaker is my friend Mr. Biju Ravi from Maersk. We are very happy, Ravi Garu, because yours is one of the leading line in the container, because everybody knows who is Maersk and all these things. And strategically, I would like to this one have request you to have the special attention on East Coast ports like Visakhapatnam, Krishnapatnam, Chennai, Ennore. What is your strategy? And what initiatives is Maersk taking to develop East India as a logistic hub? And what Southeast India benefiting from China Plus One strategy? And how is Maersk supporting trade, exporters and importers in Southeast India, especially Andhra Pradesh, end of the day to do ease of doing business? It's all win-win for both the sides, for you and for the trade, everybody. So we request Ravi Garu to give your opinion to all our friends and exporters and importers, all the trade. Thank you, sir.
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And thanks for inviting me. Thanks to Seatrade, and really it's a privilege to be part of this panel, with our esteemed guests. Maersk, I'll start with two key elements which Maersk mainly looks into, and especially when it's into east coast of India. It was first is on the network prioritization, and second one is on the digitization. So how do we support the trade with these two key factors? And most of you have seen that wherever there is ports which has come up in East Coast India, Maersk has been one of the first to jump into the bandwagon and say, okay, we can always try out the service. Whether it was in Krishnapatnam, Kattupalli, Ennore or Kakinada. Vizag and Chennai, of course, we had our journey started long back, and we have always been present in these markets. But what we are also seeing is how do we connect the world in a better manner with direct services. Today, we have, of course, Far East China. There is a good connectivity from these ports for all shipping lines, and also a couple of shipping lines for Europe. But if you look at to a vast majority of the countries, there is no direct services out of Southeast India. It's primarily be connecting at Colombo, and that's where probably there is a huge opportunity to grow and also to introduce such services. And that's where probably Maersk is today looking at how do we do that. And also from a waterways perspective, how can we increase the connectivities through the Sagarmala project which government has done, and how can we support that? And one of the things which Maersk has done is also to how do we connect the rail into Calcutta and then take cargo into Bangladesh, just as an example. So so there are these infrastructures available, maybe not at its best or the finest form, but it is, and it's up to us to explore these opportunities on how we want to support the trade and how we can reduce the overall dependency on certain ports or certain kind of services alone, but give them a multiple options where they can do it. And secondly, from the digitization perspective, of course, it's very key. It's not only that in the last 2 years we've seen that, but digitization has been always one of the key factors when it comes to create efficiencies and speed. And we have seen that, whether it's in online platforms, whether it is automation of documentations, or whether it is tracking tools. All these has been a very, very important and critical part. And Maersk has always tried to, kind of provide these platforms to the customers so that there is clear transparency and visibility, whether it is through websites or whether it is through mobile apps. And we know today India has grown such a way that everybody in India has multiple phones and multiple way of looking into these data. On another part, what we are also seeing now is, as Maersk, we have been trying to transform, right? Most of you would know that it's not only now trying to do port to port, but also trying to do what are the other end-to-end services which happens in the logistics supply chain. So that's the very key part which Maersk has been invested completely in the last 5 years. And as a first step, what we have done is to create infrastructure around that. And how we have started is with verticalization within ourselves, so that we have people who are subject matter experts. And when I say verticalization, it's in both CMs, whether it is sales or customer service or handling cargoes. Because if someone is handling an auto or say seafood, for example, from here, you need those verticals to know about what seafood is, what are the pain points which the customers have towards this commodity, and how we can provide solutions as per the requirement and need of these customers. So that's something which was done as a first step. And then, of course, simultaneously at the back end, offices also are verticalized in such a manner. The second important thing is how do we invest in assets. So what we have also done now, as I said, this China plus one strategy. And we are very clearly seeing a lot of cargo or sourcing is moving into India, and it's multi-sourcing. It's not just one commodity. And we have seen that it's primarily happening in places like Tirupur, Bangalore, or to a large extent into Vizag, Andhra as well. And now it's a question, how do we capitalize on these movements, which is happening thanks to the global trade, the way it's working out. There's a lot of dependency which is moving. And government is supporting as well this in a very big manner, and PLI, as I said, is one of the biggest schemes. And we have been also seeing how we can support the customers who fall under these benefits, and how we can help them, support them to grow the business from there. We have already, looking at tech, auto, and textiles. These are some of the commodities which comes under this plan. How can we, initiate more support to them by providing them, whether it is a warehouse requirements, whether it is deployment of trucks, whether it is deployment of multimodal solutioning, where the customer can reduce their turnaround times or improve on their capitals, or save on the capital cost which is stuck while the shipment is moving from point A to point B. So these are a few of the things which Maersk has been very keenly today looking into and seeing how we can provide the solution from end to end, right from where it is cargo is produced, and then how it is being delivered into the shelves at the destinations for exports, and whether it is inbound for imports. Another thing what we have also seen is the exporters. The exporters also have a lot of domestic challenges today when it comes to their upstream purchases, right? If there is a garment exporter who's buying something from 10 different people and then they are manufacturing the end commodity which they are exporting. So what we're seeing is there is a lot of upstream challenges which is not yet been addressed in our country, and there is a huge scope of improvement there. So we are also now talking to the associations and seeing how we can support those movements, how we can get into, even if it is the domestic side of it, how can we help it and stitch that product right from the raw materials up to the shop which it is getting sold to. So there's quite been a shift in the way Maersk has been operating, and of course South and East India has been one of our biggest hubs. In terms of today it's Ennur, we are looking at how we can get in more services into this coast, and in future also how we can connect better even a Bangladesh cargo or a Calcutta cargo via one of these ports. And Vizag can play a big as a big port there, because it's easily, there are a lot of ships coming today after Chennai into Vizag, and as Sir said, this capacity is plenty. So there's definitely opportunity to bring in efficiency and move other port cargoes and save some transit times or even cost in that manner. So those are some of the key elements which Maersk is today invested in and want to improvise within the country.
Thank you, sir, for giving the details and business plan about your company. And yes, definitely in the market, you and MSC, both are the market leaders. Anything happen because the infrastructure, end of the day, yes. Other side, the ports, both the ports are getting ready to handle the cargoes. End of the day, it will be good for the exporters and importers in that area. And the government is aiming for one district, one cargo they want to export. A lot of people, especially in Andhra and Telangana, a lot of agriculture products are going to export from here because people are interested to, the farmer is willing to export the cargo from here. So all the governments are supporting whatever the best is possible. If all things are happening, not only the products what the country is manufacturing, previously a lot of furniture is coming here from China, because people, as a friend rightly say, because people purchasing power has gone up. Because people, everybody wants to why to manufacture, why to go to the carpenter and all these things. Better order somewhere and get it through container. It will be here within 1 month. So go there, they order, see this one and bring it here. This is a good concept. So end of the day, we also must see, one way people say, why importing from China? Why not we develop? If our people develop, there is no need for the people to go there. Even the small example is the containers. When the conqueror is asking for the containers, who is there in the country to developing? Because the problem in India, we have our own challenges. It may be GST, it may be the banking rate of interest and all these things. Because now even Conquer planning to go for 4-5 vendors, they also want to go in the market and get the containers. Government say don't order from China. It's not correct. Government has to see how to improve the efficiency, how to bring down the cost. All these things, government has to work in a different direction. And end of the day, our country has to prosper. As an Indian, we must see that we must get the benefit from the system. Our local employment, local youth must get the employment. At the same time, local economic activity has to grow. All these things in a it is all in a systematic way. We have to work it out. It's an ecosystem we have to develop. And government also, whatever is possible, where if necessary, invite the foreign people and ask them to be a JV partners here, develop separate SCJets and all these things. If they can work it out, definitely a lot good is going to happen for the country. Thank you very much for all the panelists. Now
since after this anyway, bulk cargo, the theme is bulk and containerized on the East Coast, the springboard. Coming to bulk is anyway, Vizag is having rich cargo. We are considered to be one of the biggest, highest volume handling in bulk. But in containerized, the thing is that Vizag is having its own advantage, geographical advantage, deep draft and all. So, but the only challenge is that it's not a challenge. In fact, the advantage what we have in Calcutta, it's a river port where the vessels have to enter and sail out is all purely based on the river. Unlike Chennai, mostly congested. Vizag, like we said, the capacities is more. The vessels or the services are 15 services, as I said. But we need more services to US and Europe. But that is not there. Why? Because our cargo towards container is more of raw material based cargoes. We do not have much of finished goods. The governments like central government or the state government should develop the hinterland to, have the captive cargoes for the ports which are developing. Now the new ports are coming on the east coast in Andhra Pradesh, state of Andhra Pradesh, but without the cargo, the port may not be able to run because the infrastructure or the amount of investment is huge. But without the captive cargoes, it's highly impossible to run a port. For example, today we are underutilized along. In fact, we need more services, like for example, Kakinada, Maersk and MSC and all have started servicing, but there is that much of cargo is not there, they have to back out. And similarly, Krishnapatnam, same thing is happening, but Vizag, yeah.
Sorry to intervene. Good that you mentioned about Kakinada. We are all taken in by Vizag because that's a home base. But I just want to say that we are, as MSC, operating our ships in Kakinada. We have a weekly ship coming there. So I know it's a lot of challenge, but just to add on to the point that we are not backed out, we are there. So we will try and continue to be there, and the trade has been supportive, and we hope that volumes flourish so that at some point in time it makes a lot more sense than as it is now for us. But we'll continue to be there. Yeah, sorry.
Don't take me wrong. In fact, Kakinada we started, discontinued, started again. So, but the only thing is that the more services have to come. For that, the state governments have to work on this. Otherwise, it's difficult to run. As such, the rates have gone down like anything. Of course, during the post-COVID or the COVID period, people have bleeded like anything because the all-time high freight rates have gone. But now we came down to pre-COVID rates. So it is not about that thing. Only thing, if the more frequency of vessels and all increases in Vizag, we can attract more and more cargoes. For example, all the Hyderabad cargoes goes up to either Chennai or mostly to Bombay because the frequency of vessels are more. So in order to increase the frequency of vessels, we need more services. For that, we need more cargo base. So I request various associations like FIEO and all to develop the hinterland trade, especially the finished goods rather than the raw material based cargoes, which is killing the space of the vessel actually. So this is the only thing I just wanted to.
Thank you, giving the clear opinion. Now the floor is open for the questions. Whoever want to ask the question, introduce yourself, and to whom you are asking the question also, you can say, sir. The mic is next to you, sir.
Popped up at the last moment when you are talking about Kakinada, because that falls squarely not taking off from Kakinada. For the last 1 or 2 years, it has been my persistent effort to get the trains meet. Everybody talks about the chicken and egg when they come to Kakinada's cargo. The shippers say that, the shipping agencies say there's no cargo, and the port says the ships don't call on us, and the exporters are expressing their inability to come to Kakinada because they don't get an opportunity to export from there. So it's a paradigm which is very funny in the sense that there is cargo. I have interacted with a lot of cargo generating agencies like the aquaculture people, the horticulture people, and try to identify the cargo. There's plenty of cargo which needs to be transported from Andhra Pradesh ports. And the port of Kakinada has a very good infrastructure for operating and managing container cargo with a proper reefer container facility also. And still, there's not much of trade going on from there, not much of cargo movement. So that is where what I would like to get the shipping lines, and of course the export associations are not here. I'll be talking to them separately. But the shipping lines need to interact. I mean, there's no question here. Actually, when you said that Kakinada is not doing, that's when I wanted to explore what we can do to actually get Kakinada going. Thank you.
I thank you for this opportunity. as MSC, we had taken the initiative to call Kakinada 4 years ago, and we were calling for almost 1.5 years. For an interim period, because of freight challenges, we had stopped there. Since October, our ships are calling. In the last 5 months, we have been calling there regularly. At least an average of 2,000 TEUs we are lifting every month since October. So, just like you, I'll be more than happy to encourage all the importers and exporters there to patronize Kakinada, because that footprint is different from what we are talking about in Vizag. So, very selfish and personal reasons, I want also more cargo from Kakinada, because the ships are today dependent primarily on rice. There, I just also wanted to mention that it's not about just competing for market share with competition. In Kakinada, what we have done as container line is to containerize the break bulk cargo. So we had expanded by containerizing and moving into a segment of break bulk. So we are operating out of there. Anybody who wants service from Kakinada, please feel free to get in touch with my colleagues here. Samir, my branch manager, Nagarjuna, my sales coordinators are here. So we'll be more than happy to assist in Kakinada. Having said that, that place, just like most of the young ports, have a limitation because it's primarily rice, a little bit of sugar, and Bhimavaram cargo for seafood. We are already carrying all the 3 commodities, and any other cargo that can flow from hinterland, we'll be more than happy to service them, sir. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'm Shrikant from VSN. The subject which we are mentioning, bulk and containerized. VSNB is today in both the segments. We are basically a container leasing company for the last 27 years in international and domestic. Many know us in this trade. To this august audience, I would like to mention, people talk about problems and solutions also that could come up. One solution which I've been trying to hammer away in Andhra Pradesh, in Hyderabad and Vizag is to position domesticated containers here, which is one of the reasons I was in fact at Mr. Dashravan's facility yesterday and had a deep discussion. We are very seriously looking at having a strong alliance here to park our own containers to help that fraternity. Let me put it in a simple way, to give some relief to people who end up paying detention costs when they take their boxes, import-laden boxes to hinterland areas. You all mentioned the word hinterland at least 20 times on the stage today. But the fact is, we are trying to position and help the trade, which definitely, you know the benefits. People on the audience, on the stage also know what are the benefits of a moving cargo in a domestic box. So one of the reasons I would like to have during the evening, and we can meet with people, we are here to network for that. Second more important thing, the new other cap which I wear is, which my friend KK said, break bulk, containerization, bulk. We are representing a company called ISG from Australia. They have some of the most unique container which most of us wouldn't have seen in this audience here. A container which can move bulk cargo directly from the mines into the port, act like a warehouse, and this particular container can be lifted into the hatch of a ship and revolved within 60 seconds, one revolution. So 30 tons of cargo go into the hatch of a ship within 60 seconds. We provide the equipment, the special crane called the revolver and that. So VSNB has been appointed the exclusive agent for Indian subcontinent for it. So I wanted to know, I don't know anything about this Vizag belt, honestly, the bulk cargoes. If somebody is interested, we can give solutions to cut costs and add value. My target market is even the ports. In fact, today morning I met the deputy chairman of the port in his office. We have another session in a couple of days. So something unique which the country hasn't seen, we are willing to put in our 2 pence on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Srimar Garu.
Years, we keep talking about reducing the logistics cost as well as to bring, more, speed of handling cargo and all. Why not India for the past 10 years is talking only, but why not it's going for the inland waterways, which we have 5 waterways which are needed to be done, first thing. Second thing is about coastal shipping also is not been improved when you take 10 years of its time. These are the 2 things which can be improved. And when it comes to the logistics, from 14 or 15% to 8% of the world standards, which we are talking and talking. But when you take our railways, which are conveying goods at the speed of 25 kilometers per hour against China's 120 kilometers per hour, when are we going to increase the speed? When are we going to make our, the roads which are taking our cargoes through roads at a lower speed and with various wear and tear? These are the perennial problems. Besides that, the taxes and the cost for handling containers is much higher than most of our competitive ports. That's one of the reasons why they are not coming. Though we have capacity of 10.3 million, as somebody was saying, only 50% we are using. We have to reduce the cost so that people can come from everywhere. These are the most serious problems which we have to address, I think. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chandi Garu. In Telangana, now again we have to put people has to pay for separate permits to Andhra, separate permit to Telangana. So like that, these are things are happening. In the same time, yes, definitely there is some efforts by state and central governments are doing, especially under PM Gati Shakti, widening the roads, first mile and last mile connectivity. Government is planning to do it. If not today, tomorrow, it is going to happen. Definitely it will come down. In the same time, as you rightly say, that taxes, GST and all these things, government has to see for the export cargoes, they must remove all these things so that definitely the cost will come down. As you rightly say regarding the inland water, government is already putting the efforts, nothing will happen just like that overnight. It is in the process, definitely. In long run, definitely, as you rightly say, experts like you, what you say, definitely it will get the benefit from the entire exim fraternity in India, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Much in focus now, as the attention has been put and lot of private participation is happening. You can imagine a capsized vessel coming to adjacent to Haldia in headland, and then from there we are doing a transshipping and taking it all the way upstream to the power plants towards NTPC power plants, Farakka and all. Yes, the efforts were made 2 decades before, and we had a lot of issues of dredging, issues of navigation, issues related to weather, issues related to, you name it, an issue was there. Now for somebody to take cargo in a barge around 2000 ton, which is also not consistent depending on the water flowing from Himalayas and change of season, like we have in Europe, Danube River. Every time there is an issue. But now these all issues are being addressed, and each and every sector from the government, the department of different ministries are working towards it. Dredging is a big plan which is happening, a lot of investment happening there. The barges design are being done in a way that same barge which used to carry earlier, let us say X quantity, now it is X plus X1. A good 20, 25, 30% is the addition to the freight. Earlier it used to be dead freight, but now it is going very, very productive. Navigation, yes, there were challenges. Lot of bridges over Ganga River, and we had trouble during navigation, but that is also being updated. Similarly, one more area for us in Andhra and next level is the Buckingham, which is also used to once upon a time a good source for the transport of wooden logs and other commodities, rice bags used to get to the port. That is also being revived. At the same time, when we talk about this, there is, we call ULEAP, the platform which is a unified from the government side, and there are almost 1450 layers of information. You can imagine the humongous data which is available now being channelized into one place, and that data now is being kept open for the industries, for the people, participants to use to make most optimized plan for their investment. You name it, and the ministry and the department of state and center are there in that. There are going to be road and railway ministry is there, road ministry is there. It's going to be shipping always as a department. Railway FIEO system is going to be hooked to that. We'll have the ice gate also from the customs available over there. DG shipping is coming in picture. And at the same time, as co-panelist mentioned, dedicated freight corridor. So we are going to have the axle load of present scenario, which is around 22.5, is going to go good 25-30% up with a new design of tracks and railway wagons. Is going to ease the traffic both for passenger as well as freight. So many positive things are happening. Only thing we need to have that positive outlook. We need to have that patience. A lot of investment is going on, and a very good conducive environment is being created by the government, whether it is different states are competing to have their good share of the central government schemes in the system. And next 5 years we will be finding, earlier we used to listen only Expressway 1, that is Pune, Bombay and Baroda, Ahmedabad. Now you can see, those are the days now gone, and you see far eastern, northern area, now Purvachal, there is one of the biggest expressway being made, and all investment are 5-digit. So we can imagine the task which is at hand, and good infrastructure companies, especially from Andhra, are really participating over there, along with all national level companies, and you will see the change of picture happening there.
Most operators who are here, inland waterways is a subject which we are taking very seriously from both, like you said, from the center and the state also. We recently had constituted a special corporation for inland waterways from out of the Maritime Board, and that is going to look into how to utilize all the small and the large waterways in Andhra Pradesh. That's number one. Number two, like I said, NW1 and NW2 are a vibrant ecosystem. There are a lot of river ports which are being developed and a lot of cargo which is destined to go. And moreover, with the introduction of the Indo-Bangladesh protocol route, we are reaching up to the northeast. There has been a trial run, and therefore one more, the reason why I took the mic here was that we, from the AP Maritime Board side, we are trying to establish a dedicated trade route with the northeastern states to the state ports of Andhra Pradesh, so that Andhra Pradesh becomes a gateway of trade between northeast and southern peninsula. That's one thing we are looking at. We had explored one way, that is the Indo-Bangladesh protocol route to Assam and Upper Assam, and recently I had attended a function in Calcutta where the Sitwe port in Myanmar, which has been on 9th, which has been inaugurated, it is going to combine the sea route, the seaport, to the inland port along the Myanmar river. I think it is Madani or something like that. So from there, it is going to reach to Mizoram. So like I said, sir, Professor Saab, there's a lot of work going on. There's no need for any kind of a cynicism, which was the hallmark of yester years. These days, the government paradigm has changed, and everybody is cognizant about the importance of inland waterways and getting down the logistic costs, and we are working on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Gar, for example, an exporter wanted to bring his cargo from his factory to the port, he'll be paying 5 times, 10 times than the ocean freight cost. So that's where we need to build more ports closer to the plants, where like how Japan and all, if the industry is there, there's a small port will be there. So the land side cost is a killing factor. For example, if an Orissa customer is bringing the cargo to Vizag, maybe costing around for one container cargo, he might spend about $1,000, but he'll carry all the way from Vizag to China for $150, $200. So the land side cost is the major killing factor. That has to come down. Even for the coastal cargoes, India is, like Sir said, we also operated. Again, we try to give a very, competitive cost on the ocean transport, but the land side cost between both the sides, again, a killing factor where we are not able to match up to the road transporter. So that has to come down. Unless that doesn't come down, by adding more ports, of course, I'm sure the logistics cost will come down to the international standards.
Thank you very much for giving us the details on the inland waterways. I am KK Chand. On behalf of IRS, I had been there to the AP Maritime Board to discuss on the port audit and all. Besides that, sir, one more thing. Some of the things like in 2015 budget time, they said about railways, railway goods trains are going to have like passenger trains. There will be timetable on which by time they will be they'll be moving as per the timetable. Till date, they haven't done after 8 years. If that comes in, then there will be some why they are getting late. There is accountability will be there. That is not been brought, though they have said. These are some of the lacunas due to which the things are promised, but those things, if we really seriously take those promises.
Again, it is a challenge of infrastructure, sir, as you rightly say. But in the same time, government is giving the priority for Vande Bharat and all these things. They are doing it the same way. Whatever the track is available, they are moving the trains on priority. Whatever the best is possible, they are doing. Okay, as you rightly say, it may not be as per timing and schedule, but definitely they are doing their best. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think this is not working. Yeah. Myself is Himadri Patnaik. I am MD Exim Logistics Private Limited. We are a custom broker, come freight forwarder and road transporter. In fact, coming to this question of logistic cost and reducing it, I would like to propose one thing. The Seatrade can suggest the government, like the PLI scheme government is running, performance linked incentive scheme for the manufacturing trade. Government has no such schemes for the logistic or the transport trade. Individually, if the shipping line or say the logistic operators, the transporters or the infrastructure developers like ICD operators or the CFS operators, government can give incentive on the basis of the TUs, number of TUs handled by the shipping line or the port, or say for example to the trade, then trade will get lot of benefit out of that. This is one point which we should put forth before the central government. And second point is that there is a scheme like, for example, in Orissa, the Odisha government has extended for international airlines to run into Bhubaneswar airport. They extended a scheme called Viability Funding Gap scheme. For 2 years, Odisha government will pay for the entire ticket of the airlines, for the entire bookings, and the whatever number of tickets sold out, they will pay it back to the government. That kind of scheme, the difference between the number of tickets booked and the number of back-end seats remained, Odisha government will pay for it. Such kind of scheme can be run for the shipping lines as well, because many times shipping lines run their vessels from a particular port with a loss, and they wait for a long period of time to make break-even, and at one particular point of time they run away also because of losses and all, they go away. So the maritime boards, like AP Maritime Board is there is Orissa Maritime Board also. So they need to work with the central government and the state governments to request and suggest them for these kind of schemes like PLI schemes and viability funding gap schemes, which can be extended to the sea trade as well as to the logistic trade. That is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You rightly say no, because police are not treating them as human beings. What infrastructure facilities we are having? No. Because if we have to provide proper truck parking terminals for them, proper restrooms for them, all these things. Governments, even recently central government start putting some parking areas and all things. Like that, government has to do whatever there is one. And the people also mindset has to change. In the Europe countries, driver will be called as pilot. Here, what treatment driver get from the market, everyone. So like that, then cost of logistics, because that gentleman, he will not have a proper rest. You go and hit somewhere, get the accident. Even the attitude, why I say, even the heavy container is coming, even it may be 6 inches more height. The people in Orissa are making cases. The container is the standard of international all over the world. Why Orissa police is making a complaint, this one cases and demanding money? This attitude of the people has to change, then only business will improve. Because people like you and me are struggling like anything. In the same time, we have to tell the government people what they have to change the mindset, how to have the proper environment to do ease of doing business. Because everybody is important in the system. So these all things, we all work together with the government, with maybe AP government, maybe Orissa government, maybe anywhere where the problems are there. Let us go and address for it as a team. As you rightly say, people like India Seatrade can give you the suggestions. People like the Customs Brokers Association, we all can work together. End of the day, yes. If someone has to take up to the officer, this is happening, definitely officer will ready to take the action, and we can definitely do the needful, sir. Thank you.
Coastal ocean freight is the most expensive affair in the current going market. It is the reason because of the fuel cost and also the DG shipping permissions and also the customs duty, which is covered with all these things, the freight doesn't be cheaper. So, at this current situation and current present market conditions, the ocean freight for the coastal movement is very high because we have been doing a lot of shipments out of East Coast ports of India to Andaman Nicobars, to various other ports like Bangladesh and all. And it is very expensive affair as on date. This could only be cheaper if the customs duty is waived off, no DG shipping permissions, and let them allow with the fuel which is being used at this present scenario. Then probably you'll get the best coastal freight lucrative. So this is my opinion which I wanted to share to you. Thank you.
Definitely I agree, because we personally experienced, because when our company bought a couple of ships, containerized ships, other statutory matters, customs, so many things like that, but it not viable to us. Then whatever the ship, Indian flag, we converted again, we have changed it and we went into foreign routes. So it is not that I'm saying it is cheap, but alone if you look at only the ocean trade transportation, it is little better compared to other side land logistics. We have experienced and we have also bleeded badly, and then we went back into that thing. That's the reason nowadays very few operators are doing the coastal shipping actually, very like Shreyas or maybe Avana, Unifeeder now actually. There are very couple of, earlier Jindals are also used to be there in the coastal shipping. Now very few players. Because of the so many other hurdles and all, they are not able to compete in this market actually.
Even the tug and barge combination also is not cheaper. It is definitely expensive because we don't have that kind of ramp facilities in the ports, and the same thing, the fuel efficiency, and again the permissions, the MMD permissions, all this. So all these things has to be studied, and then only we can try to put them in form. Thank you.
Good, Bhupesh. And the same time, multiple handlings also is one of the concept. And from the factory, you have to load it again, you have to come there, you unload it, keep in the warehouse, and the ship is there, again load it again. See, all these things adding costs. So that is the reason government is putting first mile and last mile connectivity. Let us work together. Thank you very much for all my friends and all the panelists. We are closing this session.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much to Mr. Sambashivan Rao, sir, because he really tried to moderate the session and complete it within the time span. But it's wonderful to see so many questions. It just means that we are brewing up more meaningful conversations. So thank you so much. Just in the interest of time, we have to stop right here. I would like to invite Mr. Sauvik Mandal, CEO, APJ Infra Logistics, on stage to kindly present a memento to our gentlemen here who were part of the first panel discussion of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please hear the loud round of applause for Mr. Sauvik Mandal. Welcome, sir. To receive the memento, I'd like to first invite Mr. Biju Ravi. So can you take center stage? Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Biju Ravi, for joining us. I would like to invite Captain Sudeep Banerjee next to receive the memento. Thank you so much, Captain, for being with us. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. B.G. Gandhi to kindly step forward and receive the memento. Thank you so much, Mr. Gandhi, for being with us. I'd like to invite Mr. Adip Pal Chaudhary to kindly come forward and receive the memento. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a tea break after this, so please, louder applause, please. All right, thank you so much. And next, Mr. Ravi Sinha, may I request you to kindly step forward and accept the memento. Thank you so much, Mr. Sinha. Mr. N. Krishna Kumar, may I request you to kindly step forward and receive the memento, please. Mr. V. Jeevan Vikas, may I request you to kindly step forward and receive the memento. Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a loud round of applause to Mr. G. Sambashivan Rao for the moderator of the session, and we'd like to present you with a memento as a token of our gratitude. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and moderating the session. We understand Mr. Biju Ravi has a flight to catch, so quickly, can we have a group photograph? All the gentlemen kindly join Mr. Saul. Brings us to the end of the first session of today. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you for doing the honor, sir. Thank you so much.